24 hours talking about Carlton. Oh my God.
Nuts, man.
Sponsored by
It's the Sporting Globe.
Bar and Grill Northland.
So make sure you get down there, get your burgers, get your app. Get your app, get your discounts, and yeah, get down there. That's it. There was a game, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, and the best question will get I don't know.
$20 voucher.
Yeah.
Maybe not even the best question. We're just going to pick out a name. We're just going to pick out a name.
Give us a good comment or give us a question and we'll answer it. Or if there's
And yeah, there was a game.
Round 10.
Let's have a look at the score.
11-12, 78. Sydney played 9-8, 62 at the SC Jana. It was a bit wet before the game.
I'll tell you one thing, mate.
It was
I don't know
slippery.
what you saw on TV, and it looked slippery, but you got no idea how bad that ground was.
Yeah.
It was terrible, mate. It looks good on TV. The dew just did not go away. It was so slippery, and even David Rees-Jones said it's one of the worst conditions he's seen it. It was just, you saw how badly they were slipping. It might have looked good. I don't know if they drained, because it's been raining for days.
Rain during the VFL game.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. They had the VFL before. That wasn't going to help the ground at all, man. The whole game.
I'm surprised they actually played before that.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they did.
It's 800 grounds around there.
I know. He could have played it at Engie Stadium.
You could have played
the GWS ground. They could have played it,
Could have played it out.
That's it. I ripped it up a little bit as well.
I'm telling you, man. Game, wouldn't they?
What's that?
They'll probably get more of that NG Stadium.
Yeah,
Carlton supporters supporting the reserves and what they get for a GWS game.
Yeah, that's true. But the ground was terrible, but
it was humid too, because that's what kept it a bit sticky.
So what happened was it rained, and then it stopped, and it didn't rain anymore. It drizzled a bit during the game, but not much. But yeah, it was. You could just see it was wet, and they slipped. I mean, a couple of goals were scored at the start. Just I think Silvani slipped and that, but not that that's an excuse. But yeah, the ground wasn't the best. But they're both playing on the same ground, aren't they?
That's right. Who adapts better?
Yeah, correct.
So,
Do you want to look at some stats before we get into this?
Yeah, it was a bit.
What stats are we looking at?
I mean, we got those on the score sources.
What do you pick out of there that interests you?
Efficiency, inside 50s.
The efficiency is
the
always
one.
like that.
The number for us is clearances.
Clearances. I can't believe
Our
it.
midfield was disgraceful.
But
and that matched us contestant-wise again. Another team that can match us, and usually if you can match Carlton, my theory is if you can match us there, you probably
Good
win
comment
the game.
from Michael in the chat. I'm not going to read it out, but the umps were terrible.
Oh, bro, we'll get on that.
We'll get on to that. They were,
shocking.
look, and again, that's not going to make a difference.
No, correct.
No.
But, oh, man, it was bad there.
It was
just
a
a frustration when you're there, man.
It was a vergonya, mate.
Yeah, it was bad.
Some of the, generally, if you watch every single game of footy, you lose your mind.
Yeah.
I was losing my mind the whole week.
Me too. Me too.
Ask Taylor, I was screaming at the TV for an hour and a half. Like, some of the calls are just,
It's ridiculous.
And some of the non-calls as well.
Yeah. Like highs and that, and
What's going on?
Yeah. That Adelaide Collingwood game could have been worse. Could have been worse.
That was a ripper.
Yeah. I don't go.
Could have been worse.
Rocco's rant. Well, I'm going to get into that. Like it's done, man. Like they've lost the plot. AFL umpiring. It's gone backwards. But apart from that,
we had some score sources as well.
Oh yeah, score sources.
We love this one.
Oh, did say in the review that Sydney's turnover game was one to look out for.
Yep.
Lo and behold,
7-9. Well, they kicked 7-9-51 to our 5-3-33.
Yeah.
You know.
And they scored out of their what was their defensive half?
Defensive half was 5-4-34 to our 4-1-25. So they won the game on their turnover.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They did. They did. Yeah.
That's where they get it too. But actually, both teams mimic each other in the forward half turnover game where we scored 5-6-36 to 5-6-36.
Forward half scores.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was like that all night.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a close one.
It was a close one.
Both teams are pretty average, to be honest.
Yeah, they were. And I think we had the better of them, even though we weren't great. We still had the better of them in that first half.
Well, I said to him, the first quarter, he should have been 4 goals up.
Of course. I was so disappointed that we allowed them to kick.
Yeah.
Well, like the total domination of the quarter, come on, man. Like, I mean, the goals they scored in the first quarter were just on the counter.
Yeah.
And you know what happens. You generally, when you dominate, you don't put on the scoreboard. Other teams going to go back the other
We just
way.
kept them in. We just kept them
Put 'em
in.
in.
They always felt like
Never out of
felt like they were going to come. And for the first week, I'm telling you, it was slippery. It was bad out there. You could just feel it. Like you could just every time the ball was kicked to a mark, you were hoping they could hold it. And I was saying every time the Swans were ready to mark, make sure you're right on them because they'll drop it. They'll drop it. But then in the last quarter, it turned into a dry day all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And for us, we stayed the same. But for them, all of a sudden, they had Brownlow medalists all over the
Grundy on the run.
Grundy all of a sudden, he became the coach. He became bloody Dean Cox all of a
Peter
sudden.
disappointed me. I thought he was poor on the night.
Peter, he got
I thought he was really
bad.
poor on the night. Yeah, I didn't really like any of the midfield game, to be honest. I thought.
Nah.
I thought one of the worst players on was Sam Walsh.
Oh,
Yeah,
He was horrendous.
What is going on with him though?
He's dreadful. He's been nowhere this year.
Just lost, isn't
I mean, he had a game. He got a couple games, but against the lesser
It's
side.
great against Geelong.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was good.
Phenomenal against Geelong. And
They
then
did tag him heavily, but
Yeah, well, send him somewhere else.
I know.
Make him just flow.
I know.
James Jordan, you're a tag. I don't know. Send Walsh to
Float.
the square. Send him half forward. Send him to half back.
Whose fault is?
Yeah, but it's also the player can take him there too.
The player can take
You know
him
who
there.
does that? Who takes his man anywhere? He's a champion. Like Nick Dacos.
Yeah.
He takes him to the square.
We'll go
See what
to
he
the
did
square.
against Freo?
Freo,
Yep.
took him
Did
to
he
the
kick
square.
two
Good
goals,
luck.
He kicked
Good
2
luck.
goals.
2 quick goals, yeah.
When he gets tagged, like, all right, yeah, but what can you do from there? You take Jordan out of there.
Yeah.
You know,
Lyndon.
But where's what I'd like to ask is where's the Sam Walsh of, was it 19, 20, 21? Just explosive. He was full of beans. He had some attitude about him. He just looks flat as a tack.
One had a back, one doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good point. But it's just more so even his attitude. He was a little bit cocky. He was, he had that
arrogant.
that good arrogance.
Yeah.
It
Alpha.
sounds like
Alpha, yeah.
like he's like
You
when
need
Jordan tagged him the other night. He was just sort of resigned to the fact he was going to have a quiet night.
I thought he was pretty meek. He didn't get like. He didn't like.
There was
You know what summed his game up for me was how he conceded that goal to Chad Warner.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
On the
so he's
the
like,
way he was-
so the contest, so the ruck stoppage is behind him, and he's here, like
look,
throwing up Warner. Mate, win the ball.
I know.
Yep.
Okay, your goal side, tick. You're already goal side.
I'm sure there's somebody else that could have made
It's literally like arm in front, win the ball.
But you know what? You know what happened there, mate. He was watching the man, not the ball.
I know.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He's looking at the man.
Yeah.
He's the contest is here. The ball up is
Watch
the
the ball.
throw-ins here.
As a
the ruck
midfielder, watch the
contest
ball.
is over his shoulder, and he's looking at Warner here.
More worried
And
about
Warner
it.
almost balked him because he wasn't looking at the ball. He saw it.
see you later. It's
Yeah,
gone.
he just cut around him.
But that's like your goal should be okay. Well, the way I stop him is to actually win the ball. I don't know.
Let's not forget too that Walsh is supposed to be our ball winner, not negating their other ball winners.
He had the most tackles on the ground again.
Yeah, that's the issue.
So his back's knackered,
Yeah.
right? We know that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's being asked to play this inside contested high tackle. It makes no sense to me.
And you saw it against, like for Geelong, he got released
to
a
the
bit. He only
outside.
had 2 tackles and he looked so much better. And I think it's the coaching
Yeah.
that have put these players into this position. Like you were saying about the Smalls, like the role they're being asked to play.
Jordan's a
defensive.
good player, right?
He
Like
is, yeah.
aerobically,
He's
yeah.
smart.
Like
He's smart too.
he's a good tagger, right? But
Come on, man.
I'll ask this, right? Do we get the way we position ourselves and the way our players are placed on the field and the way we're asked to play? Do we get the absolute best out of these players?
No.
Like I've never seen players who they have a certain profile when they come in from their draft year, and then by the time that they're fully fledged at Carlton and playing, they're not actually in that role.
They don't play to their strengths either.
It's beggars belief. Motlop all of a sudden has become a midfielder.
But
Evans all of a sudden has become a midfielder. White has become a back pocket because of how we set up.
Mate,
Wiedering's our deepest.
Jordan Boyd was in the forward pocket.
I know. Like
So is that the thing though? You look at someone like a Collingwood who draft these players in and they play them to their strengths.
to their
What
strengths,
they'll
yeah,
draft
correct.
as.
Yeah.
We get someone like a Walsh and instead of being that explosive outside, dominating type of player, he's being asked to negate Chad Warner at a throw-in or
Ollie-
throw-up?
Ollie
You see it for a
Hollands.
couple of years, and then it just gets thrown out the window. And
Yeah.
said, "Oh, how can we evolve him? Maybe actually just play the play to his strength."
Ollie Hollands was drafted with the first round pick as a winger. He's now playing as a back pocket.
Yeah.
Like what?
I don't-
So if you pick up a first round draft pick, right,
we'd put
and 3 years later he's playing as a back pocket, what?
I don't-
So
doesn't make sense.
essentially
I don't
we've
get it.
used the first round pick on a player who's a back pocket.
Yep.
Which is unheard of. Unheard of.
I know.
Mate,
I don't get it. I reckon, mate, everything is so negative, though.
why
on
did
the
they move
ground,
Young
it's-
down back for?
It's so negative.
Why did they move Young down back? What for?
Because Jack went up. But
Yeah,
we've
but-
got enough interceptors,
who-
enough tall timber
but who-
down there.
who-
Haynes can play that.
But who are we defending?
There was no one there. Hamling.
Joel,
Hamlin.
well, why are we moving McKay to the back line when the game's still in the balance? So maybe we might need a forward up
Got to
there.
stop,
that,
mate.
kick
It's
a
got to
goal.
stop.
They do it every week.
Yeah, but it's just
Every
but
week they do that.
We all say we're just so defensive.
Yeah.
But why are we so defensive for?
So reactive and everything. And the thing is, like, we've got on paper anyway, so many stars that I think if they just released the shackles,
Correct,
I
yeah.
just sometimes wonder what we could be if they just allowed Charlie and Harry to be maybe in the forward 50 and
Let's
that'd be
keep them in the forward.
cause a little bit of havoc down there and give them something to think
Now,
about.
do you understand how what I've been saying for the last month just came to fruit and bore fruit on Friday night? Like, literally everything, all our defensive numbers and all this shebang about our defensive profile and look at how good our defensive numbers are. The reason that they are is because of what you saw on Friday night.
they put
You have
everyone behind
15
the ball.
players behind the ball. All your numbers
It
look
inflates,
fantastic,
it inflates.
and then people go, "Oh, how come our inefficiency going forward is so high?"
Because you asked to defend
Good
for
luck.
a full game.
Good luck trying to run 90 metres again up the field and then trying to get Motlop and White and Evans from the back pocket
But-
to the forward
And
line.
this what I was going to allude to is that our small forwards, are they the most defensive small forwards in the
Yeah, but
comp?
that's directive.
I understand that, but why
directive.
I don't get why they played
directive.
like that.
Directive.
You know, everyone goes, you know what it is? They've put this onus, like bringing in Fogarty. All right, yeah, you're great. You can tackle. Fantastic. Who can't tackle in the AFL, right?
That's
Jesse
about
Motlop. He can tackle. Who cares? What comes from it?
We're supposed
They
to be
don't
a
kick
small
any
forward,
goals
kicking
from
goals.
them.
Yeah.
But we aren't good defensively
No,
because we
I
have
know.
to throw that many bodies behind the ball. It's like we defend by mass and congregation and congestion rather
Genuinely.
But we have to work
rather than
so
design.
hard for our goals.
Thank
though.
you,
It's just-
exactly.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
Southampton. We just park buses.
Ah.
We just got buses lined up at down back.
But obviously it's not working at the moment. Maybe just
Hasn't worked
a
ever.
light bulb might go on. You might just say, all right, Charlie Kerner, you don't leave the 50 no matter what's going on. You just stay down there.
I've said this before. I don't understand what is the problem with staying in the 50.
Stay in the 50.
Like, I know you got to follow your defender.
Yeah, I know, but you
so
can,
much.
can
but
stay
I'm telling
further
you,
up. You can stay
that's
further up
right,
the
man.
field.
And if you stay there, I guarantee that defender's going to come
Exactly,
back to
yeah.
you, man. Like,
Imagine leaving Charlie one out, right?
One
the
out.
most dangerous forward in the comp, top
Yep.
2, top 3, right? Nearly one out in the 50 by himself. What happens?
I don't.
And no matter what happens, just leave him there.
What happens?
Just leave him there.
Well, the defender's naturally going to roll back,
not
or
gonna-
they're going to gamble and say, "Well, we're going to back our mids to get the ball, and they're going to be, we're going to
But it's
outnumber
worth the
them at
risk,
the
though,
sword."
isn't it? Because if we do get the breakaways down
Good
there
luck.
by himself, and if
Good
we
luck.
well, it's worth the roll.
But
of the
even
dice.
try that with a Durden or a Motlop
Well, just at his-
or
at
a
his
Will
feet.
White.
Yeah.
That's what they
How
do
many
with
times?
Bobby Hill. Do it.
Yeah.
Every big
Just get
Charlie
to
Cameron
stay
does
down
it.
there and Durden at his feet. Happy days.
I don't get it.
And we've got two of the big forwards, right? So it's not like we've only got one.
Yeah.
We've got two of them. You know, one can always stay
We're
there.
kicking 9 goals a game.
I went and watched Collingwood Adelaide, right? So went into the work commentary box, had a chat with a few of the guys, and was saying like, just watch how these two teams play. Whoever sits back will lose. Whoever sits back in a 10 to 15 minute period will get beaten.
Good luck.
Between Collingwood and Adelaide, right? And it was Adelaide who did it. Adelaide sat back for a 10 to 15 minute period, and that's what lost them the game.
Yep.
And they got themselves back into it when they had to go.
Yep.
Right? But it's hard when you're away from home. It's a big occasion.
Yeah, you
you're at
don't
the
wanna
MCG, Collingwood. It's hard to get into that mindset of like front foot is difficult, right? But you saw it was like the game between Collingwood and Adelaide, just to compare the two, it was a similar score to 3/4 time, but the game wasn't. It was wet conditions.
That's right.
Right, but it wasn't that whole like rolling maul. Just
No.
it was.
Free flowing.
Yeah, but and neither team, like there was an odd occasion where they'd have a spare to a certain point, right? But it was always even number, like in the back line and the forward line for both teams, right? And again, the moment Adelaide sagged back, that was the moment Collingwood got them, right? So I looked at the way both teams played, and I thought, well, you rely on you trust your defenders. Like, well, why am I going to roll all the way back when I've got I'll trust Howe, I'll trust Quain, or I'll trust the other guys behind me.
How many marks did Howe take?
You know, and then, but you saw with us, as soon as we couldn't win that midfield contest against Sydney, right after quarter time, we were not good.
No.
Sydney had us.
Sydney
had us.
Waiting.
It was just a slow grind, and then eventually, because we play the way we do,
Couple
you're going
of
to
goals, see
get
you
hurt. That's it. And then you can't
The
bridge it
security
back.
game was similar as well, but we actually managed to
Well,
pull
they
away in
had
the
their
last
chances,
quarter.
but they didn't take it. This is
St
what I was
Kilda-
alluding
the
to.
St Kilda second half was exactly the same as what you saw after quarter time between Sydney and Carlton. It was just that Sydney put us away, and Sydney are a better team.
To be honest, they should have been in front by more
At three-quarter time. Yes. Yeah.
Heaney
Yeah.
should have kicked 12 goals
Yeah.
that quarter. How many
Yeah.
shots did he miss?
So
He
lucky.
could have kicked 2-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
He should have kicked 3 in that quarter.
couldn't
You
believe
know,
it,
if they
yeah.
went 2-3 goals, they would have been nearly 10 goals that game.
Well, as soon as they hit the front, it was just done. It was like
It was over. You're
You could see
waiting.
goals.
It's just a
Yeah, I'm
release.
telling
It's just
you.
once that team gets a goal, 2 goals in front at that
Yeah.
time, and you're playing the way you do, so laborious.
Yeah.
Like, you got Charlie Kerner kicking goals from the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yeah. And
Like-
and remember, I keep saying, like, he's that good.
Good, and he can
that
do it.
He can make
Can
this
mask.
horrible
And
way
then
we
and then
play
he's that
look
bad.
good.
10 minutes later.
Yeah. That's him. That's him.
Oh my! I
That's
flipped it
gonna be
at that,
him.
but people go,
What
"Oh, let
was he
him off."
thinking?
You've kicked. You've had 400 shots at goal
Yeah.
in your life, right? How are you getting caught for 30 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's inexcusable.
Yeah.
You can't switch off like that. So it just shows me the mentality. If he's doing it, then someone else is going to do it. Like you can't be doing stuff like that.
Mistakes.
But it just comes down to the way you play football.
If you go back and listen to the preview we did on our channel and go back and listen to our Untitled Blues podcast, it was literally what we said was exactly what happened. Like it was carbon copy. It was just Control C, Control V. And this again, like everybody, like just if you're gonna go and do your research with numbers and data and have a look at all this stuff, best defensive profile, best defensive this, best defensive that. Of course, the numbers are going to be inflated when it's not going your way and you fold so many numbers back. Of course, your defensive numbers are going to be high. That's where all our play is. That's where all the play comes from.
Yeah.
So if your defence is good, why do you need to roll so many players back? So for us to defend and hold teams to low scores, we need to use so many resources to do that, right? And then going the other way, people wonder why we're no good.
You know, people go, "Oh, lucky we didn't get Ross Lyon. Are we any better?"
Wouldn't it change? Doesn't
Like the improvement we've had, right? I've had this discussion with a few people. So from when Voss got in, right, in 2022, the improvement that we've had win-loss, right?
Just a talent.
How much of it can you allot to the coaches, or how much do you allot to the actual players?
The players.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Well, it's
Right.
the top 6 players
It's
usually
the top
dragging
6
you
players.
across.
If the top 6 players are on top of their game,
You can't beat us. We're nearly
very hard to
unstoppable.
beat. We're very
But
hard
I
to
said,
beat.
when are you going to get those stars aligning
I'm
every
telling
game?
you,
It's
like,
impossible.
And
You're not
you
getting that
can't-
for 23
and
games.
You can't
Impossible.
expect all 6 of them to perform every single
As I said,
week.
23 games of stars aligning. It's
But
impossible.
That's the problem, though. I mean,
It's
you look at a team
impossible.
like Collingwood; they play as a unit, as a team, and it's
System
evenly
based,
spread.
yeah.
So if Dacos is down, which he has been a couple of times
Yeah.
this year, and someone
They know
else
they
is
can
down,
trust someone else.
they
Go to
balance
someone
it out.
else.
When Carlton Cripps is down, or Walsh is
Good
down,
luck.
or Charlie's down, it's all over.
Good luck.
That's the problem.
It's done.
Look at the rotations they get through midfield, Collingwood.
Yep.
Couple players went down against Freo. Who'd they throw in? Crisp.
Crisp.
Big game. They could throw Houston in there.
Not only that,
They can throw
what
the
about
go
the
in
week
there.
before?
Yeah, but
they-
that's all. That's showing the trust in the players too.
Yeah,
To know
and each
that they
other.
can go in there and they can
they
do a
play
role. They can do
Just
their
gotta
job.
Play your role. That's it. Play your role. They know the system. Just jump in next person. Man, it's.
I know we're trying to do it, but the players that we have at our disposal,
Well, that's how the personnel's
they
not
can't
good.
do. Oh, the cattle's not good
But
enough
it's also
for me.
culture, though. I mean, you look at. I hate to keep bringing up.
Yeah, no, no.
Collingwood,
Well,
by the way,
they are it.
But
at
you
the
look at
moment.
them; they support each other, they encourage
Yeah.
each other, they're enthusiastic. So, say if a crisp or someone gets thrown in the middle, come on, you know, and you can
Yeah.
see they're willing him on, and we're Carl.
They got hunger though.
They have, but
I look at our players and I'm like, are you that? Are all of you hungry?
And they've
Like,
got
yeah,
the-
you want success, and yeah, you work hard, and you go out there, and
They've
you,
got the skill set though, Collingwood. That's the thing.
You bring the heat, but like, are you hungry enough? I don't think you're
but
hungry
they
enough.
got like is their top end as good as our top end?
Who
Like Collingwood, look, they're better. So don't
is
get
their
me wrong.
top end?
You know what I mean? Like, we
As
look
in,
at
I don't think
Charlie
so.
and that. Like,
I don't think so. I think our top end's better than. I think our top.
that's
six are
right.
better
That's
than
what
our
I'm
top
thinking.
six.
I think it's better overall. They're not playing better for sure, right? But they are. All right. So then you get that middle tier.
I reckon you look at their midfield and you compare it to ours. I reckon their midfield's better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's a way
Yeah.
better midfield,
Midfield's way better than ours.
and that's where you win the game in the midfield.
Yep.
Games are won and lost in the midfield. Yeah, I know you got your bookends and you got to kick goals, right?
Yeah.
But
The bookends are. I think.
the midfield is that's your strongest suit.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
And-
you always see, like the Western Bulldogs,
Yeah, I know.
strong midfield.
who
Win a lot.
do we have any dynamic midfielders?
No,
Nah.
None.
no.
They're all
Bulldogs.
like
Richards,
one paced.
Fontempelli, two of them.
Mate, you can even add.
all-
You can even add to a certain point. He's got his own dynamism. Is Matt Kennedy?
Yeah, but he's taken the praise spot.
Yeah, I would.
No,
I
but
wouldn't
he
say
goes.
it's
He
dynamic,
kicks, no, but he
yeah.
kicks goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. It's
No, but he
dynamic
kicks goals.
player.
But that meaning in that way, he
But he
can go
balances
forward
it.
and he can.
Yeah.
But he balances the team really
Yeah,
well.
but he can go forward and kick goals. We don't have that. Who
Yeah.
goes forward and kick
They've
goals?
got a really
for
good
us?
mixture of
very hard.
those gut running
Yeah.
sort of inside
What,
middle
Cripps?
balls, and
He
they go
goes.
outside.
He goes up forward every 5 games.
They've got a good mix. the
Yeah,
Dogs, and
good
we
mix.
don't have.
We don't have a
Liberatore.
No.
Yeah, we've got Hewitt, Walsh, and Cripps.
But see, this is the thing, and this
One
and,
based.
and this is also our fault too.
I know.
Is that
Who you draft.
George Hewitt is being put up in lights? Great. Is he the standard for work rate? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. He's
No,
doing,
no, I know,
he's doing what
But
he's asked.
you know
not
what
a
he
knock
is?
on the play. It's a
No,
knock on
no,
the
no,
club.
no, exactly.
It's a knock
Yeah.
on the playing.
Well, they
list, the
rely
coaching.
so much on Jagger Smith to be that. It feels like it. It feels like
they
that's
put
what
the
they
eggs
were
in the
relying
basket.
on.
Yeah.
And then, like, he fell over. And, mate, he's an 18-year-old. And he fell over. And now they're trying to fill in the spots with...
Well, it looks as though what Jagger Smith was going to be is what they've kept Motlop and Evans as. That
Well,
they're
like
playing in that
dynamic,
half forward
yeah.
to midfield role.
that's what they're filling in now.
But can you predominantly, you see all these kids when they come in, you can't
So
play
is that-
23 games of midfield time.
I
at
agree.
80%.
But I'm saying
They
in
just
their
can't.
mindset,
It's rotations,
does it
obviously.
look like... I don't know.
Maybe, but
It's-
I'd be worried.
You know what it would be? It would have been, well, we've set our whole preseason on this particular
Yeah,
role, and
yeah.
at the last minute, the guy
Bang.
who was going to play it has done his ACL.
So they're trying to
So do
find
you-
someone?
Yeah, and Evans
And the
Motlop,
players that they're trying
they're
to
not
put
good
in
enough.
just aren't good enough.
They
Yeah.
can't execute the
I
role.
think they would have had that much.